Welcome to Bible Stories Network, where we share events from the Bible daily. The story of Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor who played a key role in the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, is more than a religious narrative. It is a tale of power, morality, and the choices we make under immense pressure. Pilate's story invites us to reflect on human nature and the far-reaching consequences of our decisions. Pilate's tenure as governor of Judea was set against a backdrop of significant unrest. Judea, under Roman rule, was a region marked by deep cultural and religious divisions. The Jewish people, steadfast in their faith in one God, often found themselves at odds with the Romans, who worshipped a pantheon of deities and revered their emperor as a divine figure. The heavy taxes imposed by Rome exacerbated the tensions, creating widespread resentment among the Jewish population who longed for freedom and autonomy. Pilate, appointed as the fifth governor of Judea, was tasked with maintaining order, collecting taxes, and ensuring loyalty to the Roman Empire. It was a role fraught with challenges, requiring both diplomacy and a firm hand. However, Pilate's leadership style often leaned toward severity, and his disregard for Jewish customs only deepened the divide between him and the local population. Early in his rule, Pilate caused outrage by introducing Roman standards bearing the emperor's image into Jerusalem. For the Jewish people, this act was a direct violation of their religious laws, which prohibited graven images. The protests that followed were intense and widespread, forcing Pilate to eventually remove the standards. While this concession averted immediate conflict, it underscored the difficulties Pilate would face in governing a region so deeply resistant to Roman rule. Another contentious episode during Pilate's governorship was his decision to use funds from the temple treasury to construct an aqueduct. While the project addressed a practical need for improved water access, the use of sacred money sparked outrage among the Jewish people, leading to demonstrations that Pilate suppressed with brutal force. These incidents painted a picture of a leader who struggled to navigate the delicate balance between authority and respect for the religious and cultural sensitivities of the people he governed. It was in this volatile environment that Pilate's most defining moment occurred: the trial of Jesus of Nazareth. When Jesus was brought before him, accused by the Jewish religious leaders of blasphemy and sedition, Pilate found himself at the center of a conflict that would test his conscience, his leadership, and his humanity. After questioning Jesus, Pilate found no evidence to support the charges against him. "I find no fault in this man," he declared, a statement that reflected his recognition of Jesus' innocence. However, the situation was anything but straightforward. The Jewish leaders and the gathered crowd demanded Jesus' crucifixion, accusing him of claiming to be the King of the Jews, a title that carried political implications under Roman rule. Pilate's position was precarious. Releasing Jesus risked inflaming tensions with the Jewish leaders and the crowd, who warned that sparing him would be seen as disloyalty to Caesar. At the same time, Pilate's conscience, bolstered by his wife Claudia Procula's warning, urged him to act justly. Claudia, having experienced a disturbing dream about Jesus, sent Pilate a message imploring him to have nothing to do with that righteous man. This intervention added to Pilate's inner turmoil as he grappled with the weight of his decision. In an attempt to avoid making a definitive choice, Pilate sought to deflect responsibility. He offered the crowd a choice: to release Jesus or Barabbas, a notorious criminal. To Pilate's dismay, the crowd chose Barabbas. Even then, he hesitated, asking the crowd, "What shall I do then with Jesus who is called the Messiah?" The response was unanimous and chilling: "Crucify him." Pilate's reluctance to act decisively reflected his fear of losing control, both over the immediate situation and over his position as governor. Ultimately, Pilate capitulated to the demands of the crowd. In a symbolic gesture, he washed his hands before them, declaring, "I am innocent of this man's blood." It is your responsibility. This act of abdication, meant to absolve him of guilt, has become one of history's most enduring images of moral evasion. Despite his outward display, Pilate's decision to hand Jesus over for crucifixion would define his legacy and weigh heavily on his conscience. The crucifixion of Jesus was a turning point in history, carrying profound religious and cultural implications. For Christians, it represents the ultimate act of sacrifice and redemption, the cornerstone of their faith. For Pilate, it marked the moment when his struggle to balance justice and pragmatism resulted in the death of an innocent man. His role in this event has been the subject of scrutiny and debate for centuries, as scholars, theologians, and historians attempt to understand the complexities of his character and motivations. Pilate's story did not end with the crucifixion. His tenure as governor continued, but his actions remained controversial. Historical accounts suggest that Pilate's methods grew increasingly harsh in the face of ongoing unrest. One notable incident involved the massacre of Galileans offering sacrifices at the temple, an act of brutality that further alienated the Jewish population. Another account describes Pilate ordering the execution of Samaritans who were searching for sacred artifacts on Mount Gerizim. These acts of violence led to official complaints against Pilate, prompting his recall to Rome to face trial for his conduct. Pilate's recall marked the end of his political career. His return to Rome coincided with the death of Emperor Tiberius, and while the new emperor, Caligula, dismissed the charges against him, Pilate was not reinstated as governor. Stripped of his authority and status, Pilate was exiled to Gaul. According to some accounts, his life ended in tragedy, with Pilate taking his own life, overwhelmed by the weight of his past decisions and their consequences. The story of Pontius Pilate serves as a profound reminder of the complexities of leadership, the struggle between conscience and duty, and the enduring impact of our choices. Pilate, caught between his moral convictions and his political obligations, made a decision that altered the course of history. His attempt to navigate an impossible situation ultimately led to the death of an innocent man and his own downfall. Pilate's legacy is one of moral ambiguity. Was he a weak leader who succumbed to fear and external pressure, or a pragmatic politician trying to maintain order in a volatile region? His story challenges us to reflect on our own lives and the decisions we make when faced with ethical dilemmas. It reminds us that while we may seek to absolve ourselves of responsibility, our actions and inactions carry consequences that cannot be undone. Thank you for watching this episode of Bible Stories Network. Let us continue to learn from these timeless narratives and the lessons they offer for our lives today.